Tonight on Newswatch 18, hear about why Interstate 35 shut down earlier today.
And I'll tell you everything you need to know about the career fair tomorrow.
Big news regarding five-star recruit Rashad Vaughn. Is he coming to Iowa State?
And we've got a few chances of snow in your 7-day forecast. I'll tell you all about it tonight on Newswatch 18.
This is Newswatch 18. Newswatch 18 starts now.
Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Newswatch 18. I'm Maria Lesignoli.
And I'm Will Dodds. Thanks for joining us. Interstate 35 shut down south of Des Moines Metro earlier due to a chase and standoff. The chase began north of Des Moines just after 1 p.m. after a trooper spotted the suspect driving nearly 100 miles per hour. The suspect refused to pull over and fled south on I-35. A trooper deployed stopped sticks on the interstate, blowing 3 of the suspect's tires. The suspect got out of the red Chrysler Sebring, displayed a weapon, then got back inside the car. After an hour, a couple negotiators were able to talk the man into surrendering. No shots were fired and no one was hurt during the chase or standoff.
Business, human science, and LAS majors, listen up. The Business and Industry Technology Career Fair is tomorrow at Hilton Coliseum. Employers will be there from noon to 6 p.m. to meet with students for networking purposes and potential internships, co-ops, and full-time employment. There is no need to register. It is recommended to wear business professional clothing. There will also be a leadership breakfast before the fair. This gives time for more networking opportunities. For more information on the career fair and the leadership breakfast, go to the business website.
2 Iowa State researchers are doing some important work with African chickens. Susan Lamont and Jack Deckers are part of a team that's trying to find the genetic mechanisms that make chickens more resistant to heat and more resistant to respiratory disease. Lamont says making chickens more resilient will help reduce poverty and improve nutrition. The research is funded by the U.S. Agency for International Development.
Patrick Schnably is Iowa State's Plant Science Institute's new director. He was one of the leaders of the team that sequenced the corn genome. Schnably got his doctorate from Iowa State in 1986 and has been a faculty member since 1988. The institute's research involves more than 200 faculty across 6 colleges and 30 departments.
The College of Engineering's home is getting a makeover. The college announced a 2-year, $20 million renovation plan for Marston Hall. The building's infrastructure is going to be updated, and space is going to be made for more classrooms and meeting areas. Plans also call for preservation work on the building's original exterior. The project is largely funded by private donations.
If you have a favorite old building in Ames, it might be time to nominate it for the 2014 Preservation Awards program. There are only 3 requirements. The building must be within Ames city limits, undergone preservation in the last 3 years, and be more than 50 years old. The nomination form is available at City Hall and on the City of Ames website. They are due by 5 p.m. on February 28th, and winners will be selected at the Preservation Commission's March meeting, and awards will be handed out in May.
Affordable mental health care is something that seems far out of reach. In fact, out of the 8.9 million adults living with a mental illness or substance abuse disorder, 40% do not receive treatment. ISU psychology professor Nathaniel Wade is seeking to change this by offering clinical sessions that are open to the public for a small fee ranging from $5 to $20. Network Community Counseling Services focuses a lot on group therapy that is not focused on addressing one specific issue, but is centered on general concerns.
If you have a smartphone or tablet, new facial recognition technology could pose potential risks. ISU Professor of Information Systems Brian Manecki says that while the new facial recognition technology can create opportunities, it also creates concerns, including privacy invasion, identity theft and misuse. He gives the example of a new app called Name Tag that allows users to take a picture of a stranger and find out information about that individual by scanning pictures on social media sites and other online sources. Minneke compares trying to safeguard one's privacy or identity is similar to fighting a war on terror.
A new policy at Ames Middle School has some parents worried. Students who score proficient or higher on the Iowa assessments will get a half day at Perfect Games. Kay Marner has a child at AMS. She says that rewarding kids for their scores is a good thing, but doesn't think the school is going about it the right way. AMS principal Pam Strangland says that the Perfect Games trip isn't meant to be rewarded some students. It's meant to be a celebration.
Iowa hospitals need your help and your blood. Because of this winter's extremely cold weather, there have been fewer chances to donate blood to the LifeServe Blood Center. The center provides blood to more than 100 hospitals in Iowa. LifeServe says that patients shouldn't see any effect of the low blood supply, but they need to build the supply so there isn't any wait for blood. LifeServe is conducting a blood drive at the Ames Donor Center at Mary Greeley Hospital from Tuesday through Thursday. And now we're joined here at the desk by Jared. Jared, what is the news regarding Rashad Vaughn?
Rashad Vaughn has made a decision on where he'll be attending next year. I'll tell you what colors he'll be wearing and more in your Cyclone Sports Update. You're watching Newswatch 18. Cyclone fans are picking up broken pieces to their hearts after hearing Rashad Vaughn's decision earlier tonight. After the Cyclones spent 4 years recruiting the five-star shooting guard, Vaughn committed to UNLV over Iowa State. UNLV had the edge of proximity and familiarity. Vaughn moved from Minnesota to Nevada to attend Findlay College Prep, meaning he was able to see practices and games on a regular basis, as well as build a relationship with head coach Dave Rice and the coaching staff. After a 3-game winning streak, the Cyclone men's basketball team fell to West Virginia in Morgantown last night. The Mountaineers had control for most of the game as they ended the first half with a 21-point lead. In the second half, the Cyclones couldn't get within 11 points, and West Virginia would cruise to a 102-77 victory. George Yang led the team in points with 17, and Dustin Hogue had his 6th double-double of the season with 15 points and 10 rebounds. The Cyclones hope to bounce back this Saturday as they take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders in Hilton. Tip-off is set for 12:45 p.m. and will be televised on the Big 12 network.
For a guy like Durant and Blake Griffin and all the great players that have gone through this league, Melvin Edgham's name is at the top for points, and that's unbelievable for a guy like you said, Travis, who probably doesn't get as much credit as he deserves.
It's a great feeling, Hill Magic is definitely alive. The Cyclone Alley was great. The fans came out and support, but like I said again, it's all about my teammates. These guys really looked out for me. They really passed the ball and made this night for me.
For the first 37 minutes of the game, the Cyclone women's basketball team never trailed against the Texas Lady Longhorns in Austin. The Longhorns came back with a 23-8 run to finish the game and beat the Cyclones 71-64. Nikki Moody led the way for the Lady Clones with 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. The Cyclone women returned to Hilton this Saturday night as they face the Kansas Jayhawks. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. The Cyclone wrestling team had their 10-match win duel streak snapped over the weekend as they fell to in-state rival UNI on Saturday. The Cyclones earned a total of 13 points from victories by John Nicholson, Michael Moreno, Tanner Weatherman, and a major decision from 197-pounder Kevin Gadsden. The Panthers were superior, however, as they would win 6 matches, 3 by bonus points with a major decision, a tech fall, and a pin, leading to a 24-13 victory. The Cyclones traveled to Columbus, Ohio this weekend to compete in the NWCA National Duels Tournament. The Cyclones had another big weekend on the track. At the Husker Invitational, Christina Hillman threw her way to her 4th shot-put win of the season. On the track, Samantha Blusky and Maggie Gannon finished 2nd and 3rd in the mile. Kelly McCoy and Hannah Wilms finished 1st and 2nd in the high jump. At the Armory Collegiate Invitational, the women broke their Iowa State DMR record with a blistering 11-minute, 11-second run. and they finished second overall. The Cyclone softball team started their season this past weekend as they hosted Indiana State and South Dakota State for the Cyclone Indoor Invitational. It was a great weekend as they start the season with 4 consecutive wins. Day 1 of the invite resulted in a 4-3 win over Indiana State and a 3-0 win over South Dakota State. On Sunday, the Cyclones repeated the winning cycle, beating South Dakota State 4-1 and Indiana State 4-2. Freshman Katie Johnson led the Lady Clones on the mound over the weekend, only allowing 5 earned runs and struck out 28 over the 4-game stretch. The Cyclones take their 4-game winning streak on the road as they travel to Las Cruces, New Mexico this weekend to play in the Troy Cox Classic. First game is set for Friday at 7 p.m. And that's all I have for your Cyclone sports updates. Corey, when is Mother Nature going to give us a break?
Well, it looks like that break is going to be later on this week with what is going to seem like a very big warm-up. I'll tell you all about it next on Newswatch 18. Welcome back to Newswatch 18. I'm Corey Hargeth with a look at your forecast. Now, it may have seemed cold still today, and it definitely was, but much warmer than what we've seen over the past couple of weeks. But compared to normal, 13 for our high today in Ames, normal 41 degrees, and that record 62 set back in 1977. We do have a warm-up on the way, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But here are the highs across the rest of the state from today. 7 in Waterloo, 8 in Mason City, 16 in Fort Dodge, and 23 was a high out in Sioux City. Here's our clouds and radar over the past 6 hours. We did have a few clouds trying to work their way into the central part of the state earlier on this afternoon, but we are getting into a bit of a break. But that is going to fill in overnight tonight as we look for increasing clouds across a good part of the state, especially here in central Iowa. We'll look at our local temperatures now across at least the southern half of the area. 14 in Ankeny, 13 in Ames, 16 in Perry, and 16 in Carroll. We'll move on up to the north just a little bit. 16 in Fort Dodge, 11 in Iowa Falls, and we are at 8 right now in Marshalltown. We'll zoom out and look at the temperatures across the state as well. 7 in Mason City, 16 in Fort Dodge, 16 in Council Bluffs. Looking out to the east, much colder out there where we still have the clear skies. It's 4 in Waterloo and already down to 2 below in Davenport, and it's just obviously going to get a little bit colder as we move through the night tonight. The winds have been fairly gusty at times out of the south and southeast. 15-mile-an-hour winds right now in Ames, 13 in Des Moines. Same thing in Waterloo, and 18-mile-an-hour winds in Mason City. So what do we have coming up ahead weather-wise? We do have a little bit of snow possible tonight before we really start to warm things up, especially compared to what we have seen over the past several weeks temperature-wise. But then by the time we hit early next week, we're going to have some major melting going on with our much warmer temperatures. We'll talk about that in your 7-day forecast here in just a minute. But here we go with the futurecast. There's our band of snow for overnight tonight, and I'm thinking less than a half inch. Some areas could see maybe 3/4 of an inch up to an inch. But otherwise, the occluded front dissects the state earlier on tomorrow before a warm front starts to drape its way down, bringing in those much warmer temperatures. And this moves through on Thursday night, and those warm temperatures really start to come in on Friday and into the weekend. Your lows overnight tonight, there's that area of cold air that I talked about with the clear skies. -2 in Davenport for your low, 5 in Ottumwa, 4 in Waterloo, and 9 in Fort Dodge. In Ames, we're going to look for 9 degrees overnight tonight with increasing clouds and some light snow possible with winds out of the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking across the state for your highs tomorrow, 20s across pretty much the entire state, 24 in Davenport, 27 in Ottumwa, 28 in Des Moines, and our warm spot, Council Bluffs, looking to hit the freezing point for your midweek Wednesday. We'll look for 26 in Ames with some more snow. Again, less than about a half inch or so just enough to make the roads and sidewalks maybe a little bit slick, so be careful as you are out and about tomorrow. And those winds will still be out of the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So there's your 38 degrees with partly clear skies for your Thursday, dropping down to 21 by Friday. Another chance of snow moving into early Saturday morning, but we will get above freezing for your high. Saturday, 33, and then there you go. There's your warm-up for the early part of next week, Monday and Tuesday. 40 degrees for Monday, 43 on Tuesday, and our computer models are actually showing that we could see some 50s and maybe even some isolated 60s by the time we hit next week. So There's definitely that break that we were talking about from Mother Nature, and that's all I have for weather. Let's send it back to Will.
February 14th is Valentine's Day. It's that time of year to show your love for that special someone that you know and aren't just stalking on Facebook. But why be glad when you could be sad? Single Awareness Day is also being celebrated on February 14th and the 15th. It acts as our counterpoint to the romantic holiday for single people. It was created as a way for singles to cope and survive what would otherwise be a depressing day. There are many ways to commemorate the holiday. You can wear green, hang out with friends, have gift exchanges, volunteer, or do random acts of kindness to other singles. As one bachelor puts it, it's better than crying into your pillow.
The university may not be closed for President's Day, but most of the day will all the city buildings will be closed, including the Ames Public Library and the City Ambassador's Office. Cyride and the Story County Clerk's Office will be running on a normal Monday schedule, and the Resource Recovery Plant will be accepting garbage. And that is all that we have for you tonight on tonight's edition of Newswatch 18.
Be sure to join us next week for more cyclone, news, weather, and sports.
Have a great night, Ames.